Daily habits quietly shape the direction of a person's life long before results become visible. What people often label as success appears sudden, but in reality, it is the outcome of countless small actions repeated when no one was watching. Talent may create a starting advantage and luck may open a door, but habits decide who stays in the room and who is forced to leave. The actions performed every day, especially the boring and uncomfortable ones, build the foundation that long-term success rests on. Talent without discipline eventually becomes wasted potential. Many people rely on natural ability and stop developing once things feel easy. Over time, the world catches up, and those who once stood out find themselves average. Daily habits, on the other hand, continuously sharpen ability, turning ordinary skills into extraordinary strengths through repetition and refinement. Luck is unpredictable and temporary. It cannot be scheduled, controlled, or relied upon. Those who depend on luck often wait, hoping circumstances will align in their favor. People who build daily habits prepare themselves so that when an opportunity appears, they are ready to take full advantage of it. Preparation turns chance moments into lasting progress. Consistency creates identity. When a person shows up daily to work on their craft, their mindset, or their discipline, they stop relying on motivation and start operating from commitment. Over time, the habit becomes part of who they are, not just something they do. This identity shift is what allows progress to continue even during difficult seasons. Small habits compound in ways that are invisible at first. Reading a few pages, practicing a skill for minutes, or making one better decision may feel insignificant in a single day. Over months and years, these small actions accumulate into knowledge, confidence, and capability that cannot be faked or rushed. Daily habits also create emotional stability. When actions are structured and intentional, results are no longer tied to mood or external validation. Progress continues whether confidence is high or low. This stability separates those who last from those who burn out after a short burst of effort. Failure becomes less intimidating when habits are in place. A setback does not feel like the end because the process remains unchanged. The focus shifts from outcomes to execution, allowing improvement to continue even after mistakes. This mindset turns failure into feedback instead of a stopping point. Disciplined practice daily builds self-trust. Each time a person follows through on a small commitment, they reinforce the belief that they can rely on themselves. This internal trust becomes a powerful source of confidence, stronger than praise or recognition from others. Long-term success demands endurance, not intensity. Intense effort without structure leads to exhaustion, while steady habits create sustainable growth. The ability to continue when progress feels slow is what ultimately separates achievers from dreamers. The true advantage of daily habits is control. While talent and luck are external and uncertain, habits are chosen and repeatable. By focusing on what can be controlled each day, progress becomes inevitable rather than accidental. Mindset shapes how reality is interpreted and determines whether challenges are seen as obstacles or opportunities. A person can be placed in the same situation as someone else and produce completely different results, based solely on how they think. When the mind is trained to look for growth, solutions, and responsibility, progress becomes possible even in difficult circumstances. Discipline turns intention into action. Without discipline, mindset remains a theory with no real-world impact. Discipline is the ability to act in alignment with long-term goals rather than short-term comfort. It bridges the gap between knowing what should be done and actually doing it on a consistent basis. A strong mindset without discipline leads to frustration. Positive thinking alone cannot overcome poor habits or inconsistent effort. When discipline is missing, motivation fades and momentum is lost. True achievement requires thoughts and actions to move in the same direction every day. Discipline without the right mindset also has limits. If the mind is filled with doubt, fear, or limiting beliefs, effort becomes heavy and unsustainable. The right mindset gives meaning to discipline, turning sacrifice into purpose and effort into progress rather than punishment. Together, mindset and discipline create self-leadership. Instead of reacting to circumstances, a person learns to direct their own behavior regardless of external pressure. This internal control allows growth to continue even when conditions are not ideal. Consistency is born from the combination of belief and structure. Mindset provides the belief that progress is possible, while discipline provides the structure to make progress repeatable. When both are present, actions no longer depend on emotion or convenience. Setbacks test mindset and discipline simultaneously. A strong mindset prevents discouragement, while discipline ensures the process continues. Instead of quitting, adjustments are made, lessons are learned, and effort resumes without losing direction. Over time, disciplined action reshapes mindset. Each completed task reinforces confidence and self-trust. This feedback loop strengthens belief, making future discipline easier and more natural. Growth becomes a cycle rather than a struggle. Achievement is rarely the result of dramatic moments. It is built quietly through repeated decisions to think better and act consistently. Mindset determines the quality of those decisions, and discipline determines their execution. When mindset and discipline are practiced daily, progress becomes inevitable. Goals stop feeling distant, and results begin to align with intention, effort, and persistence. Focus determines where energy flows, and energy determines results. When attention is scattered across too many directions, progress becomes diluted and slow. Concentrated focus allows effort to compound, turning limited time and resources into meaningful advancement rather than constant movement without momentum. Emotional control protects focus from being hijacked by temporary feelings. Anger, frustration, and excitement can all pull attention away from what truly matters. When emotions dictate actions, priorities shift, and progress becomes inconsistent. Control allows decisions to be guided by purpose rather than impulse. Distractions often appear harmless, but they silently erode commitment. Each moment spent reacting instead of directing attention weakens momentum. Focus requires intentional boundaries, a willingness to say no, and the discipline to remain aligned with long-term objectives despite short-term temptations. Emotional reactions can undo weeks of effort in a single moment. One impulsive decision, driven by ego or frustration, can damage relationships, opportunities, or reputation. Emotional control acts as a safeguard, ensuring that progress is not sacrificed for momentary relief. Focus brings clarity during complexity. When challenges arise, a focused mind identifies the next actionable step instead of becoming overwhelmed. This clarity prevents paralysis and keeps movement steady, even when the path forward is uncertain. Emotional stability creates consistency. When actions are not dependent on mood, work continues regardless of external circumstances. This consistency builds reliability both internally and in how others perceive effort and leadership. Protecting focus often requires stepping away from unnecessary noise. Opinions, comparisons, and external validation can distort priorities. Emotional control makes it possible to receive information without being consumed by it, maintaining direction without becoming reactive. Pressure increases as progress grows. Expectations rise, stakes become higher, and scrutiny intensifies. Without emotional control, pressure turns into stress that fractures focus. With control, pressure becomes a signal to sharpen discipline rather than abandon it. Focus transforms effort into mastery. Repeated attention on the same skill or objective deepens understanding and precision. Emotional control ensures that impatience does not interrupt this process, allowing time to do its work. Progress is fragile in its early stages. Focus keeps effort aligned, and emotional control prevents self-sabotage, creating a protective structure around growth that allows it to develop without disruption. Personal value is not assigned by titles, opinions, or external validation, but by what a person consistently brings to the table. The marketplace and the world respond to usefulness, reliability, and character. As these qualities grow, opportunities expand naturally without the need for self-promotion. Skills are the most visible expression of value. When a person invests time in learning and refining abilities, the why increase their capacity to solve problems. The more complex the problems they can handle, the more indispensable they become. Skill development transforms effort into measurable impact. Standards determine how skills are applied. High standards push a person to deliver quality even when minimum effort would be accepted. This commitment to excellence separates those who are trusted from those who are tolerated. Over time, standards become a reputation that speaks before words are exchanged. Integrity sustains value when no one is watching. Skills may open doors, but integrity keeps them open. When actions align with words, trust is built, and trust multiplies influence. Without integrity, even the highest skill level eventually loses credibility. The combination of skill and standards creates consistency. Anyone can perform well occasionally, but consistent performance requires discipline and self-respect. High standards demand preparation, focus, and accountability, ensuring that results are repeatable rather than accidental. Integrity strengthens decision-making. When values are clear, choices become simpler and more aligned with long-term goals. Short-term gains that compromise character are avoided, preserving respect and self-confidence over time. As skills increase, standards must rise alongside them. Growth without higher expectations leads to stagnation. Raising standards ensures that improvement continues and complacency never becomes comfortable. Integrity also builds internal stability. When actions reflect personal values, mental energy is no longer wasted on justification or regret. This clarity allows focus to remain on growth rather than damage control. People with strong skills, high standards, and unwavering integrity become dependable. Dependability attracts responsibility, leadership, and opportunity. Others feel confident relying on someone. Consistently delivers without cutting corners. Personal value compounds. When skills are sharpened, standards are upheld, and integrity is protected, creating a foundation that naturally commands respect and opportunity. Health is the foundation that supports every effort, decision, and ambition. Without physical and mental energy, even the best plans collapse under fatigue and stress. A well-maintained body allows focus to remain sharp and endurance to stay strong throughout the demands of daily life. Time management determines how that energy is directed. Having energy without structure leads to wasted motion, while structure without energy leads to burnout. When time is intentionally planned, effort is focused on what produces results rather than what merely fills the day. Poor health creates hidden inefficiencies. Lack of sleep, poor nutrition, and chronic stress slow thinking, weaken discipline, and reduce emotional control. These inefficiencies compound over time, silently undermining productivity and decision-making. Strong health increases resilience. When the body is conditioned and the mind is clear, challenges feel manageable rather than overwhelming. This resilience allows consistent performance even under pressure, making progress more reliable. Effective time management protects health. Clear boundaries prevent overwork, while scheduling rest and recovery preserves long-term energy. Managing time wisely is not about doing more, but about doing what matters without sacrificing well-being. Energy amplifies focus. A healthy body supports sustained concentration, reducing the temptation to procrastinate or escape into distraction. This focus allows high-impact tasks to be completed with greater precision and speed. Time management creates momentum. When priorities are clear and tasks are organized, small wins accumulate throughout the day. This momentum reinforces discipline and reduces mental clutter that drains energy. Health and time management work together to reduce stress. Physical activity, proper rest, and planned schedules create balance. Balance prevents reactive decision-making and preserves clarity in high-pressure situations. Neglecting either health or time weakens the other. Overworking damages the body, and poor health wastes time through fatigue and inefficiency. Alignment between the two creates sustainable performance. When health is protected and time is managed intentionally, effort produces greater results with less strain, allowing consistent progress without exhaustion. A clear vision acts like an internal compass that quietly guides daily effort towards something larger than the present moment. Without it, actions feel repetitive, exhausting, and disconnected, but with it, even the smallest tasks gain significance. Vision gives context to effort, transforming routine work into deliberate progress. When you know where you are going, what you do today no longer feels random, it feels intentional. Effort stops being about survival and starts becoming about construction. Daily discipline becomes easier when it is anchored to a clear picture of the future. Vision creates emotional leverage, allowing you to endure discomfort because you understand its purpose. You wake up with direction rather than reaction, choosing actions instead of drifting into them. This clarity filters distractions, helping you say no to things that do not align with your long-term aim. Energy stops leaking into irrelevant pursuits. A meaningful life direction is not created by intensity alone, but by alignment. Vision aligns thoughts, habits, and decisions around a central aim. When alignment exists, progress compounds naturally over time. You are no longer pushing against yourself because your inner values and outer actions are moving in the same direction. This harmony reduces inner conflict and increases consistency. Vision also reshapes how failure is interpreted. Setbacks stop feeling like personal defeats and start looking like feedback. When you know the destination, temporary obstacles lose their power to discourage. You begin to see mistakes as part of the path rather than signs to quit. Resilience grows because your focus is larger than the momentary struggle. Clarity of vision sharpens focus in a world full of noise. It simplifies decisions by providing a clear standard for what matters and what does not. Instead of being pulled by trends, opinions, or pressure, you move according to intention. This focus protects time and mental energy, two of the most valuable resources in building a meaningful life. Direction turns effort into progress instead of motion. Vision also fuels patience, which is essential for long-term growth. When you understand the bigger picture, you stop demanding instant results. You allow time for skills to develop, relationships to mature, and opportunities to unfold. Patience becomes a strategic strength rather than a passive trait. You stay committed even when results are not immediately visible. A clear vision influences identity, shaping who you believe you are becoming. Daily actions start reinforcing that identity through repetition. You do not rely on motivation alone because your behavior is tied to who you see yourself as in the future. This identity-driven effort builds confidence quietly and steadily. Over time, consistency replaces doubt. Vision transforms sacrifice into investment. Late nights, hard choices, and disciplined routines no longer feel like losses. They become deposits into a future that matters to you. When effort is connected to meaning, burnout decreases and fulfillment increases. You understand why you are doing what others might not understand. Meaningful direction also improves emotional stability. You are less shaken by comparison because your path is defined internally. Other people's success does not threaten you because it does not alter your destination. This creates calm determination instead of wrestles. Urgency. Confidence grows from clarity, not approval. When vision is clear, life stops feeling fragmented. Work, growth, rest, and learning begin to support one another instead of competing for attention. Daily effort becomes part of a larger narrative you are consciously building. Each step, no matter how small, contributes to forward movement that feels intentional and deeply connected to purpose.